Yes, hello there. This is only one Kenobi. Only one. And I thought I would do another episode like previously when I did a top 5 Clone Wars Need in the Vintage Collection video. I thought I'd do this one now, which is focusing on Rogue One. I'd like to firstly thank Playbox1 who recommended this video. You've been commenting on a lot of my videos, man, so thank you for your interest in the channel. And what a great idea. I thought, why not? Let's talk about another set of figures that you need in the vintage collection. And on the turntable now, you'll see an old Ben Kenobi spinning, because I thought I'd start the video with a figure appropriate to the era we're going to be talking about, which is around the Battle of Yavin. Of course, Rogue One has a line of figures already in the vintage collection. There's a lovely card back there for the Imperial Stormtrooper. And you know, what else could we have in the vintage collection? Let's get straight into this, and I'm going to start off with 2 tubes. Now, more specifically, I want to see Benthic 2 tubes, because this is Edrio 2 tubes, which is the pilot, and he's just turning away from us now. But basically, the difference between the two is Edrio and Benthic. You don't realise when you first see the film that there's 2 of them, but there is. Benthic is the guy who is the one they could put on a vintage card, because since we already have a figure for 2 tubes, Edrio, which is this guy here, you know, to save having to give us the same figure again, although it would be super articulated in the vintage collection, they could give us Benthic. So Edrio is the guy who, he died on Jeddah. Spoiler alert, sorry. But Edrio is the guy, this guy here is Edrio. The other fella, Benthic, who I think they could put in the vintage collection, is the guy who was in Solo, actually, apparently from my research tells me that, and also Benthic is the guy who survived. So I think Benthic is number 1 good candidate for a figure in the vintage collection. Now let's move this hastily on to, oh, is he stood okay? Now this guy here is Saw Gerrera. I love the character of Saw Gerrera. When I opened this figure, which is, these are all 5 POAs by the way, when I first opened him I just thought to myself, look at the quality and the detail of him. Very quickly on Saw Gerrera, I love the fact that he's a rebel. However, the actual Alliance are very frightened of him and his acolytes. By their tactics, they're known as extremists. So I love that whole concept. There must be dangerous characters, you know, and done some serious things, you know, terrorists almost. But this guy, look at the quality of that figure. Now, when I first opened it, I thought, wow, what are they doing giving us figures this good without the articulation? Now, just imagine him getting the full treatment. Now, the tubes look quite plasticky. However, there's a lot of scope to improve this guy in all departments, you know, but he ain't half a bad figure already. So that's my second candidate. Just so you know that this list is only my list. You are entitled to your opinion. I am not wrong, and neither are you. And in fact, I do want to see what you want to choose for yours. I'm going to have a load of honourable mentions in my video. Let's move this on swiftly now. No messing around. I've done a video on him before in my series called The Vintage Collection Wishlist, and it is Director Krennic. This guy, I love the character. This is a brilliant figure again, limited to 5 POA. I don't know how they would make a vintage collection. By that I mean, would they give us soft goods or stick with the hard? But he definitely needs articulation, because underneath that cloak he don't do much. But it would be nice to think that they could make a soft goods cloak that was pretty good as well. They could change the fabric so it was stiffer, or they could do something whereby this section here had some sort of brace on it, you know what I mean, to keep it firm and in place so it doesn't dangle like a Vader cloak would. They could do something. They could get the imagination in gear or whatever. They could sort it out. But he definitely needs some articulation. The other thing I love about Krennic, which I always talk about, is the fact that he is the only example of an Imperial officer. Because for years, figures have been packed with weapons, but you never see anyone using them. But this guy, you do. Where am I up to? I've done Krennic, I've done Saw, I've done 2 tubes. Now let's talk about this guy right here. I don't have a figure for him. You don't either. None of us do. But I'm going to put this A-Wing pilot here down, who is... I've forgotten his name, it'll come to me in a moment, but we need a blue leader, yes. Antok Merrick, come on, give us a blue leader. If you're going to ever give us a blue leader, don't give us a 5 POA one. Why not go all out and put it where it should be on that card back? I've said it before and I'll say it again. When I first saw Rogue One, it hit me in the cinema. I thought, wow, that's a vintage figure, do it. And we are still waiting since 2016 for a figure, period. For, and yes, Antok Merrick. This is Taito Selchu here. The only reason I chose him was because the green sort of his uniform, just to give you an idea of how good pilots can be with all the, you know, the attachments there to the flight suit there. It's brilliant. I'd love to see Antok Merrick with his lovely blonde moustache. Obviously, this could be a younger version of him for now, just to fill your imagination, just to sort of ease the video. But come on, give us what we want, Antok Merrick. Bring him on. And then that is it. They're in no particular order there. Have I done 5? I've done 2 tubes. Boom. I've done Krennic, that's 2. I've done Saw Gerrera, that's 3. I've done Blue Leader, that's 4. I've done these in no particular order, but my other mention in the top 5 would be... What would I choose now? Oh my god. Yeah, I'm going to have to go with this one here. This is... yes, we've had him in the Vintage Collection before. It is, of course, Grand Moff Tarkin, but do you know something? I think that we could all use another figure again of Tarkin, but on a Rogue One card, because he's so rare to get hold of that it would be nice to have him out again on a Rogue One card. You know, it's a matter of hours and days before the events of New Hope, so I just think he'd look awesome to have him again. Do you know what? I'm lying to you. He was one of my honourable mentions, but this is just a live video, so bear with me. But they're all relative, aren't they? Let's move on to somebody else who would be a really good candidate. Do you know what? Damn it, this was supposed to be my 5th member. Not him, but I've got him just to show you. But this is a double one, 2 in 1 now. I want to see, how am I doing this now? I want to see this guy, Captain Antilles, on a Rogue One card. Now, you could put him on a Star Wars chase, but the thing about Star Wars and Captain Antilles is he dies in Star Wars. It's not really his best moment. I want to see a card back reflecting him as he's living and doing his work, his job, you know, and that would be Rogue One. So I've just thought I'd show you the Rebel Fleet Trooper again as well. I did a video on him recently just to kind of remind you on how good this guy is. And damn it, I wouldn't say no to seeing this guy come back in the Vintage Collection. Not on a Star Wars chase again, we've had him on that, but potentially, he just looks a bit wonky there, potentially have him back on a Rogue One card. You know, the scene where they are so pivotal in that scene, because they are there in what is the best scene in Rogue One, when Vader wails upon them, swinging that lightsaber, butchering them, dare I say. But it would be quite nice to see Captain Antilles get the treatment, you know. There he's geared up for that sort of scene there, which is quite sad, really. I hate that choking scene. Accepted no transmissions. Oh, we're on a diplomatic mission. Because he dies, doesn't he? Well, so they say. Apparently he defends himself by putting his hands on the wall, so he can't be dead. Now then, honourable mentions. Technically Tarkin was going to be my honourable mention, but this guy as well. I love Bail Organa. I loved, in fact, seeing him come back for Rogue One. It was one of those points in the cinema, aside when Tarkin appeared, that blew me away. When he appeared and you saw it was Jimmy Smits, you thought, ah, wow, well done Disney for getting him to play the role again, and he'd aged nicely. This is a figure I wanted to show you. This is from the Legacy Collection. It's a really good, look at that. It's an underrated figure, this. Look at the facial sculpt for Jimmy Smits there, is brilliant. Now, if they could age him and give him a better robe than that, obviously that's geared up for the prequels, that robe, but it's that kind of very plasticky fabric there, which is, they've surpassed that now. They've given us better fabrics than that. Give him the Vintage Collection treatment. Do it, Hasbro, you know what I mean? It needs a little bit of that, a little bit of TLC and the TVC. So that's a lovely idea, I thought. Anyway, it's only my opinion, but I thought it'd be cool to see a lovely Bail Organa as he would have been when he last saw Leia. And my final shout out, there's so many you could choose. The monk in the temple on Vader's playing Mustafa, you know that guy. My lord, Director Krennic has arrived. He'd be good. Hell, there's loads of figures, but I thought for now, this doubles up for something I want on a Return of the Jedi card. It's Mon Mothma. This is the Power of the... Damn it, which one is that? I think that might be Power of the Jedi. I don't know. Mon Mothma. Really, if you want my honest opinion, I'd sooner her on a Return of the Jedi card, because that's where she is. The Emperor's made a critical era, and the time for our attack has come. That is Mon Mothma. That's how we all know and love Mon Mothma for years. She does make an appearance in, obviously, Rogue One. She has a good role, and it's played by the actress who played her in the prequels, her. But I just figured because there are so many Return of the Jedi cards, we are saturated. Although, who cares, man, it's all good. It would be just quite quirky and interesting if they could bring her on a Rogue One card. So that is my list, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know yours below. Have I missed anybody? I just, had a thought about it one day, and they are my main candidates that I would love to see. Thank you all very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe. This has been Only One Kenobi. Only one. Out.